history in a critical analysis, and by analyzing the different facts of history, historical events, facts, and whatever events of the past. Then we have studied then what are the different types of history. In that we have studied ancient history, medieval history, and modern history, children. In ancient history, as I have already told you, that ancient history is nothing but one of the oldest history. We have ancient history right from the Stone Age man to Harappan and Mohenjo-daro civilization. Then we have different kinds of civilization all over the world: Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization, Greek civilization, then Ashokan period, Mauryan period, Cholas, dynasty of Cholas, all the folklores, mythological work, all Ramayana, Mahabharata, all this will come in ancient history. Moving further, second type of history is medieval history. Now, in the medieval history, from the Indian point of view, I have told you that from Mughal period, from the invasion of Muhammad bin Qasim in India till the Shivaji rule, all this will come under the medieval India. Then in the medieval India, which are the different topics you might learn? Mughal period, then all the Alauddin Khilji work, then all the emperors of Mughal Empire, Shivaji Maharaj, unka pura reign, Maratha history. Then in the Maratha history also you will learn about different kinds of Bakhar. All this you will learn in medieval history. Moving further, modern history. Modern means the latest history we have now, right from the first war of independence, that is 1857, the rising of Mangal Pandey. From there till today, till 2001. In 9th standard till 2001, modern history has been given. Now all this will come under the three subsection of history. Now we have also learned about the Indian tradition with related to Indian historiography. In that we have learned the ancient history, that how the ancient history historiographer has, what are the different topics has been covered under the ancient history. Gaura copper plate we have learned. We have learned about the Harappan civilization. Then we have learned about the mythological lores, oral recitals. All these things has been covered under the ancient history. Similarly, Stupa of Sachi, then Harappan seals. We have studied all these. Stupa of Sachi is the great work of Ashoka Empire. He was very influenced by the Buddhism, so he inscripted different inscriptions. बुद्धिस्ट इंस्क्रिप्शंस, उनकी टीचिंग को लेकर उन्होंने बहुत सारे इंस्क्रिप्शन मेंशन किए, उनकी टीचिंग्स उस पे written है. So all this work has been done by Emperor Ashoka because he was a great patron of Buddhism. Then similarly, the great epic, our great books Ramayana and Mahabharata, written by Valmiki and Vyas, we have already studied. We also studied about these, that these are the scared book of Hinduism. Similarly, I have given you examples of the Islam also, that how the Holy Quran was also one of the historical work, right? Or हमने पढ़ा कि all this will come in ancient history. Then in medieval history, we have studied about the work of Tuzuke Babri, Akbarnama by Abul Fazl, Tuzuke Babri. Then we have studied about the Bakhar literature. Then we also studied about the Kaifiyat Bakhar by Krishnaji Anand. Then we have studied that how the Bakhar literature, different kinds of Bakhar given information on the Maratha architecture, not only Maratha architecture, but their social, economic, and cultural life. Now, by studying all this, you might understood that these books, ancient and medieval books, also their mythological work, also mythological lores, whether it is oral recitals, all these gives importance about information about their social culture, their economic culture, their festivals, their rituals, their religious values, their moral values, their ethical values, and how they used to live in the society. What are the different traditions they used to follow? What are the cultures are there? What are the festivals they used to celebrate? All these information we'll get about all these books which I have just mentioned. Now, moving further, this was a revision of yesterday's lecture. Now, moving further, today we'll start with the modern history. But before starting modern history, I want to show you just a small video of modern history.
Historiography in the modern period in India during the 20th century, Indian archaeological exploration and research had formally commenced under the auspices of the British. As a result, a number of ancient sites were excavated, particularly under the supervision of Sir Alexander Cunningham, a British Army engineer who was also the first Director General. Historiography in the modern period in India during the 20th century CE, Indian archaeological exploration and research had formally commenced under the auspices. Historiography in the modern period in India during the 20th century CE, Indian archaeological exploration and research had formally, as a result, a number of ancient sites were excavated, particularly under the supervision of Sir Alexander Cunningham, a British Army engineer who was also the first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. He excavated these sites on the basis of their locations mentioned in Buddhist texts. An epoch-making moment of this period was the discovery of the Indus Valley or Harappan civilization during the tenure of Sir John Marshall. Due to this discovery, the antiquity of Indian history was traced back to the 3rd millennium BCE or even earlier. Many British officials during their stay in India had written about Indian history. Their writings displayed strong influence of the colonial policies of the British on every aspect of the Indian subcontinent. However, there were some British scholars who took keen interest in diligently studying the glorious past of India, who was fondly referred to as the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. 3 volumes of the History of British India, written by James Mill, were published in 1817 CE. This was the first book on Indian history written by a British officer. It clearly reflected an absence of objective perspective and prejudice about various aspects of the Indian culture. The History of India, written by Indian archaeological exploration and research had formally commenced under the auspices of the British. As a result, a number of ancient sites were excavated, particularly under the supervision of Sir Alexander Cunningham, a British Army engineer who was also the first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. He excavated these sites on the basis of their locations mentioned in Buddhist texts. An epoch-making moment of this period was the discovery of the Indus Valley or Harappan civilization during the tenure of Sir John Marshall. Due to this discovery, the antiquity of Indian history was traced back to the 3rd millennium BCE or even earlier. Many British officials during their stay in India had written about Indian history. Their writings displayed strong influence of the colonial policies of the British on every aspect of the Indian subcontinent. However, there were some British scholars who took keen interest in diligently studying the glorious past of India, who was fondly referred to as the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. 3 volumes of the History of British India, written by James Mill, were published in 1817 CE. This was the first book on Indian history written by a British officer. It clearly reflected an absence of objective perspective and prejudice about various aspects of the Indian culture. The History of India, written by Mountstuart Elphinstone, who was also the governor of Bombay, now Mumbai, was published in 1841 CE. The period of Maratha Empire is very important in Indian history, and Grant Duff's name stands out in this regard among various British officers, historians, and scholars of the time. He wrote a book entitled A History of the Marathas, 1826, which was published in 3 volumes. Grant Duff's writing also displayed the British inclination of condemning Indian culture and history. A similar tendency was also witnessed in Lieutenant Colonel James Todd's writings about Rajasthan's history in his book Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan, or the Central and Western Rajput States of India, 1832. The 2 volumes of A Statistical Account of Assam, 1879, written by William Wilson Hunter on Indian history, showed a somewhat impartial treatment of the concerned subject. Neelkant Janardhan Kirtane and Vishwanath Kashinath Rajwade were 2 Indian historians who took up the task of exposing the limitations of Grant Duff's writing.
Now moving further, children, as you have seen in the video, today we are going to start with modern history. So modern history, I have told you the current, you can relate, you can get the sources of these history from the latest source, from the newspapers, from the different kinds of, even the videos also. For example, we have the videos of First World War also. Then from the Indian independence also, we have some kind of events. For example, Chalo Dul. If you search on the YouTube, you will get lots of videos from the post-independent period also, pre-independent period also, from the year 1920 to 19, from the year video invented, from World War also, you will get lot of videos. So modern period history as compared to ancient and medieval, it is easy to relate these modern period history. इनको concrete करना और इनको summarize करना बहुत ज्यादा क्या है, आसान है as compared to ancient period. Now, because there is strong sources for the modern history and modern historiography. Now, as we have learned in the video, here also the same information has been given, but I'll explain you one by one. Now, in the 20th century, the Indian archaeological exploration and research started under the British rule. Now see, before Britishers, there are books which are written. There are mythological books in the form of Ramayana, Mahabharata. Then we have the book on Harsha Charitra, Meghdoot was written, and all these books are has or Rig Veda has been written. So these books are great source of information, but they are not the actual books of history. But when the Britishers came to India, they took great interest in Indian continent, and they were quite inspired by our culture and tradition. So they have started recording all those events and all those recordings, all those events of the past in their books and in their languages. So that you will study in this particular part. So many British officials in India wrote about Indian history. Their writing displays strong influence of the colonial written colonial policies. Now, what are the colonial policies? So there are different colonial policies. They have, for example, I'll give you an example of colonial policies. That is, they used to take lagan in the form of cash. But before the Britishers, what the farmers used to do, they used to give grains दे देते थे वो, और उसके बदले उनका टैक्स क्या हो जाता था, पे हो जाता था. But when the Britishers came, they make it mandatory to pay the tax in the form of cash, whether the crop happens that year or not. If the crop fails also, they have to pay the tax. Similarly, they exploit farmers for growing cash crops only, right? And which resulted into infertility of the land. So all these are the colonial policies. Now, their writings display strong influence of the colonial policies of the British. 3 volumes of the history of the British India, written by James Mills, were published in 1817. The history of India, written by Mount Stuart Elphinstone, governor of Bombay, now Mumbai, in the Indian history, was published in 1841. Now, James Mill was has written many books on the Indian Indian colonial rule, but he was also used to make fun of the Indians also. He used to tell that Indians are the quite traditional and they are the backward. वो क्या है, quite traditional भी है and backward भी है, and only way to take them out from the that traditional or from the foolish things. They used to tell that he used to tell that all the customs or the tradition which Indians are following are very traditional. बहुत क्या है ये traditional है, and they are the foolish. And he used to say that if the Indian wants to change themselves, so they have to adopt the Western cultures. So he used to make tantrum of the Indian customs and traditions. Then the period of Maratha Empire is very important in the Indian history. Then Grand Duff, he wrote the Maratha history, wrote about Maratha history. He wrote the book entitled A History of the Marathas. This book is published in the 3 volumes. Grand Duff writing also shows the British inclination of the condemning Indian culture and history. As I've told you, he used to condemn. That means they used to think that whatever Indians are doing, that is wrong, and their tradition and culture was very wrong at that time. The British inclination of condemning Indian culture and history. Similarly, tendency is witnessed in the colonial thoughts writing about Rajasthan history, the 2 volumes written by जो है Grand Duff. Now see, as due to the writings, what are the writings? For example, we had in the late 18th century, we have the custom of sati. Okay, now that sati system was totally banned in India right now, and from the 1828 itself, it was banned in India after the Raja Ram Mohan tried to make it ban, right? So that sati custom was totally false. But so all these things has been seen by these British historians, and they have written in their books. And so to be honest, sati system is totally wrong, and it is very impractical. It is very inhuman to make the bury to make wife bury with the death of husband. This is totally foolish. It doesn't make any sense, and it is also false by Indian law today. So these things has been seen by them, and they used to tell that these things should be stopped. Similarly, widows are not allowed to remarry. So again, they used to tell why the widows should live like this. Then they used to make they used to tell women who their husband has died to take off their head. They have to wear the sari. She has to live very lonely life. She used to not celebrate anything. So these things had been seen by all these British historians, and they used to condemn these things, that Indians are wrong in many sense and they should change themselves. Okay. Now next is, now with this we have finished about the now with this we have finished about the 3 parts of Indian ideology, that is medieval, modern, and ancient. Just now we have finished with the modern historiography. Now moving further, children. Now moving further, I am starting with now second part of your lesson, that is ideological frameworks. As I have told you yesterday only, that in this particular lesson you have 2 parts. First one is related to historiography in 3 sense, that is modern, medieval, and ancient. And the second part is related with different ideological frameworks. In this particular part, you are going to study about different ideologies of the with related to historiography. And in that first one is colonial historiography. Then we have the oriental historiography. These 2 historiography you will learn today. So the early scholars who studies wrote Indian history, very mainly British officers and Christian missionaries. Their prejudice is clearly influenced in the way some of them have ridiculed Indian culture. The writing were used to justify the colonial British rule. In the 5 volume of Cambridge History of India, published during 1922 to 1937, are distinct examples of colonial historiography. As I have told you, that they used to make ridiculed मतलब कि मजाक उड़ाना, वो इंडिया के इंडिया के प्रथाओं का, उनके कस्टम्स का, उनके ट्रेडिशंस का, they used to make the fun of those things, and they used to tell that whatever Britishers are doing, they are doing it right. और उनके यही सेंस की वजह से they used to exploit the Britishers, they used to exploit the Indians, because they think whatever they are doing, they are doing it right. So that is totally their own opinion, children, because they used to exploit the farmers, they used to exploit the handicrafts. Even the common persons are not happy in their reign. So they have their own mentality, they have their own tendency, and they used to rule according to their own tendencies and tantrum. Now colonial history will colonial history or colonial historiography, that means whatever history which has been jotted from the 18 from the period when the Britishers came to India till they have depart. So all that period, और उस वक्त जो भी history और foreigners ने लिखी है, उन्होंने जो भी history लिखी है, that all will come under the colonial historiography. Now children, in that first one we have to study about the colonialism. Now colonialism, that means extreme power. Definition है उसका, political, social, economic and cultural domination of a territory and its people by a foreign power. That means one particular foreign power come to our nation and rule us in a political way, social way, economic way and culture. They used to dominate us, they used to exploit us, they used to make here exploit the resources. All this will come under the colonialism. Now, as you all know, children, we are the colony of the Britishers for almost more than 200 years. India used to be the colony of the Britishers from the, I think, from the year they used to came here. They used to come as a traders. वो trade के हिसाब से यहाँ पर आए थे, but they used to, उन्होंने फिर यहाँ पे देखा and they used to exploit our resources. Then उन्होंने धीरे धीरे अपना dominance expand किया and they used to rule us from the year, I think, from 1707 to till the 1947. So we Indians were the colony, India was the colony of the Britishers. So next, historians used to travel to India. Now the first Britishers who has written the historical books about the Indian continent is Alexander Cunningham and Sir John Marshall. They used to write the history. Now Sir James Mill, as we have seen in the video also, he used to write he has written many books on the Indians, and in all those books he used to stand from the Indian traditions and culture. Now children, colonial history also include the not only the work of the Britishers but also the work of the travelers also, and the travelers which used to see the how the Britishers used to exploit the Indian people. ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ ब्रिटिशर्स ने ही अपने जो है अपने उनके रेन को बढ़ा चढ़ा कर लिखा है, but there are the people who used to see that what is wrong and what is right, and they used to target the Britishers also. Now, another part of your second ideology is Orientalism. Now, Orientalist historiography, second type of ideological work is Oriental historiography. Now, the term Orient derives from the Latin word Orient, means east. Now, this is the Latin word Orient and it means east. Now, children, Orientalist historiography is something which is related with east and Europe. From the Europe, Indian continent is in eastern side. So the country of the east, especially East Asia. और उसके बारे में जो हिस्ट्री लिखी गई है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ओरिएंटलिस्ट हिस्टोग्राफी. स्टडी ऑफ ओरिएंट मींस स्टडी ऑफ ओरिएंट, दैट मींस स्टडी ऑफ ईस्ट एशिया or basically the history of India, history of Pakistan, study of all the East Asian countries, Bangladesh, study of Myanmar. All these will come under the Orientalist historiography. Now, basically, Oriental historiography is nothing but the history of East Asian countries with related to Indian subcontinent. Now, Orientalist historiography. Many European scholars felt curious about civilization and countries of the East. Now, see, children, as you all know that we all East Asian countries are rich in resources. We are rich in natural resources. We all are rich in abundant of social, cultural. There is a great contrast in our social, cultural life. For example, as an Indian, also you might know that there are the different. We have the 29 states, and all the states has their own language, their own culture, right? So, and each have different food, there each one have different dressing style, each one has their own lingual tradition, festive culture. So there is great diversity in Indian subcontinent, and eastern countries uh, are they are all very diverse. That means they are rich, they are having very rich natural heritage. Now some of those scholars felt admiration of respect for them. Now children, not only there are people or there are historians like James Mill, but there are also scholars those who are admirer of our great culture and heritage. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ जैसे जेम्स मिल को हमारा जो ट्रेडिशन जो है खराब लगता था एंड ही यूज्ड टू स्टैंड फ्रॉम अस, बट ऐसे भी कई स्कॉलर्स है और हिस्टोरियंस है जिनको यहाँ के कल्चर और ट्रेडिशन ने काफी क्या किया है, इंस्पायर किया है, वो उनसे क्या हुए हैं, एडमायर हुए हैं, और उन्होंने जो हिस्ट्री लिखी है एज एन एडमायर में, मतलब एक प्रेज में, तो यानी वो इंस्पायर हुए हमसे, हमसे जो है क्या हुआ, एक उन्होंने एक माना कि यहाँ का ट्रेडिशन और कल्चर अच्छा है, सो वी शुड राइट गुड ऑल्सो अबाउट दिस कल्चर एंड ट्रेडिशन ऑफ इंडियन हिस्टोग्राफी. तो उन्होंने जो हिस्ट्री लिखी है जो प्रेज में, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ओरिएंटलिस्ट हिस्टोग्राफी. तो आपको दो बातें याद रखनी है, दैट whatever history of East Asia, and that also in a good way or in an admiring way, that has been written or by the foreign scholars are called as Orientalist historiography. The Orientalist the Orientalists studied the similarities between Sanskrit and some of the European languages. Now what they have, when they have studied Sanskrit, they used to think that Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages. They used to they got very impressed by the Sanskrit languages, that even that Sanskrit is the origin of all languages, and basically we Indians used to follow Sanskrit. That uh, at that time Sanskrit was the official languages of the kingdoms. So they used to think that this particular Sanskrit language has given birth to all these different kinds of languages. Even the English, in English also there are some words of Sanskrit. Therefore, then some of the European languages, they focus more on Vedic tradition and Sanskrit literature, and they were very impressed by the Vedic literature. In 1784, Sir William Jones and founded Asiatic Society in Kolkata. Okay, the first Asiatic Society, which is mainly established for the research purpose in the field of history. Remember, these children, that Asiatic Society in Kolkata has been found to research in the history subject. It opened the doors of research in ancient Indian literature and history. As I have told you, this society has been formed to make research in the historiography. Among the Oriental scholars, Friedrich Max Müller deserves a special mention. In his opinion, Sanskrit was the most ancient language of the Indo-European languages. He used to think that Sanskrit is a language which is one of the oldest languages, and from Sanskrit all these languages has been originated. For example, Urdu, Hindi, English, French, all these languages has been are the children of the Sanskrit languages. He first translated the Sanskrit text of Hitopadesh in German language. Now he was the first one who translated the book called Hitopadesh. Now, Hitopadesh is a book which is written mainly on both humans and animals. And children, this book is quite famous, Hitopadesh, and he has translated. This book is related with moral, ethical values of it's related to animals, with related to humans. It is a combination of both, and he has translated that particular book in German language. Now, again, this is one of the great, okay, the great pride moment for all of us, that a particular foreigner is respecting the Indian literature. He was editor of 50 volumes of the scattered books of the East. He also compiled Rig Veda. Now, again, children, Rig Veda, there are 4 Vedas, as you all know. There are 4 Vedas, children. That is Rig Veda. Then we have Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. But one of the oldest Veda is Rig Veda. All the gist of the 4 Vedas has been given in this particular Veda, and all the all the important information with related to oldest text or oldest religious values of Hindus has been given in Rig Veda. So he has translated all those work of Rig Veda, which has been published in 6 volumes. उसकी 6 अलग-अलग types की volumes books हुई है, and he translated Rig Veda in German also. So you have to remember this name, Patrick Max Muller. Lately, Edward Said, a scholar who has reevaluated the Orientalist writing, has thrown light on imperialistic instead of Orientalist scholars. Now, children, एडवर्ड सेड जो है वो एक और हिस्टोरियन थे, उन्होंने लिखा है एक बुक, और उसमें बताया है कि वो किस तरह से ओरिएंटलिस्ट हिस्टोरियोग्राफर्स जो है, दे यूज्ड टू टेक कीन इंटरेस्ट इन द इंडियन historiography, and they used to admire our Indian traditions and culture. Now, with this, children, with this we have come to the last part of our lecture. I'm just giving you a revision in 2 to 3 minutes, that what we have learned today. We have learned about the modern historiography. In the last part of my historiography, that is modern historiography, in that we have studied how the Britishers used to write about the modern historiography, and there is a great effect of colonial aspect in the modern historiography. Then we have studied 2 important ideological frameworks today. First one is colonial historiography, and second one is Orientalist historiography. Colonialist historiography, in that we have studied about the we have studied about the how the Britishers has mainly dominant the historiographical work, and colonial historiography is a historiography which we have studied about the British rule, their era, their policies, their colonial policies, how they used to exploit how they used to rule India, what are their policies, what are their rules and regulation, administrative system. All these we are going to study in this particular colonial historiography. There are Oriental historiography, in that you have to you will see another totally diverse historiography. In this particular historiography, you will see how the how the foreign scholars are the great admirer of the East Asian continent, and how they used to think that these are the one of the greatest culture. That is, for example, the books and Rig Veda has been translated in German language. Similarly, they used to think that the Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages, and they are the great admirer of Sanskrit language. So here, for evaluation, children, madam, hello. वर्षा मैडम.
हाँ हेलो.
हाँ मैडम, ये इवैल्यूएशन लेना है.
हाँ. Sandhya Maurya, unmute yourself, beta.
Yes, I will first ask read the question. Dash translated Sanskrit names of a Sanskrit book, that is Hitopadesh.
Friedrich Max Müller.
Friedrich Max Muller. Very good. Now, second question is name some Orientalist scholars. Anybody else?
Ma'am.
Name some Orientalist scholars we have studied just now.
Sir William Jones.
Okay.
Friedrich Max Müller.
Yes, very good. One more is there. Anybody else wants to try, children?
Teacher
And the third one is children, Edward said.
Edward said.
Yes. Okay.
God said. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now next question is, who are called Orientalist? Anybody? Who are called Orientalist?
Ma'am, the ideologies of history. The ideologies of history. Because जो हिस्ट्री के बारे में वो करते हैं ना उन्हें ऑनलिस्ट कहते हैं.
Yes, but जो हिस्ट्री के बारे में लिखते हैं, but they write good by inspiring themselves. जब inspire होके they used to write about the good about the East Asian continent and with related to India by inspiring themselves. जो खुद inspire होके जब उनको अच्छा लगता था वो जो लिखते थे, those historiographer are called as Orientalist historiographer. And the name of the some important ideologies which we have studied today.
Colonial historiography, Orientalist historiography.
Very good. Colonial historiography and Orientalist historiography.
Historiography.
And this is your homework, children. You can write it down in your notebook. Now you have to write the work of the Max Muller. What are the works which has been, he has written many books, so you have to write it all that, and you have to make at least 4 to 5 lines of his work.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the last question was the I have an answer.
What I'm not able to hear you properly. Please be clear.
The Kaito, ma'am, the answer of the last question was a painter or a drawing maker.
Answer of the last question. Hello. Hello.
Ma'am, who are called Orientals?
Yes.
Yeah, a painter or a artist or a drawer.
Yes, those who are the admirers. For example, painter also, whenever what he will paint, whatever he will find good, he will paint. So with related to history, I'm telling you here that if the particular person found that particular culture is good, or particular culture or particular tradition is good, particular festival is good, and whenever he will find good things about that particular, he will admire those particular culture or tradition, or he will find good in that particular thing, then only he will write on that particular thing, and that is called as Orientalist historiography. What you are telling is also right. You are telling in general term, but I'm telling with regard to history subjects. Okay, thank you. So with this, I'm concluding my lecture here. Thank you for joining the lecture.